Hey guys and dolls, and welcome into another video. My name is Jason, and today we are going to be doing a full market outlook for the week, some stocks that I'm going to be dipping my toes into, what I am watching and what is moving markets today. So worth noting that the ARKX ETF that I have been talking about a lot on my channel recently could actually launch at the earliest of today onwards, because the SEC filing for that was on the 13th of January, and it does state that 75 days after this SEC filing we can actually see approval. So that would mark the 29th of March, which is today. So at any point from today onwards we can expect the ARKX space ETF to be launched, and this is really exciting news for a lot of our space plays. And again, you guys know that I have been giving out individual space plays, and I've done a lot of breakdowns of individual space stocks, some stocks I have recently been buying up on my channel. So I hope that you guys have been diving in and you've been putting those plays on your radar, because I do think that we will see some big moves in the short term. Once again, that ARKX ETF is actually out there. Does it mean that it is going to be out today? Nope. But from history we can also know that the FinTech, which is the ARKF ETF, actually did get approved after that 75 days, and about 4 or 5 days after that approval they did actually launch. So again, it will be up to Kathy. Once they do have all of their paperwork, they can decide to launch it today, they can decide to launch it in a month's time, in 2 months, however long that she wants to do for her marketing, that she can choose to do so. But I do believe that they are going to do it pretty quick, because if anything, history does tell us that Kathy Wood likes to get the ball rolling, and right now we are seeing a correction from a lot of those growth, tech and innovation plays, so it would probably be a good time to start diving our toes into those plays. Now that being said, does that mean that the stock market is going to continue to go up on these plays in the short term? Absolutely not. It could mean anything, guys, for the markets. The markets are very volatile at the minute and the trees are shaking, so stocks can always go down as well as they can go up. So always be aware to make sure you've done your due diligence and research, because nothing I say on this channel is in fact financial advice. Now moving into the news about the cargo ship, if you weren't aware, there was a cargo ship that did actually block the Suez Canal out down near Africa, and while that was blocked because of the cargo ship that got blown off, there was a backlog of hundreds of ships that were not able to pass, and there was going to be a lot of fear that if this was not removed within a 2 or 3 week time period, then all of these ships would have to actually travel down the north and the south coast of Africa, and that was going to allow a lot of pressure on the markets to actually start to creep in, as inflation would then rise and there would be a shortage of supply and demand issues, which would push the prices of everything astronomically, including things like oil. So that is why we have seen an increase in things like oil prices, and a few of our stocks have been very shaky, because people were thinking that this could lead to another 10% correction in the markets. But the good news is today that has actually been freed up, and that canal is now open and everything is now passing through with new traffic. So that is some good news for the stock market on ahead, and we can actually see in a second when we dive into the charts that the Nasdaq has actually hit new time highs after this weekend. And it is worth noting, guys, that on Friday we do have Easter Friday, Good Friday, so again the markets will be closed and we can expect some volatility, because at the end of that day we do actually have the unemployment data coming out, which I think is estimated for somewhere around 6.2 or 6%. So again we'll have to see how those figures show, because that will actually influence the markets in a good or a bad way depending on where we are in the recovery of the pandemic. So that is some news that is going to be moving markets this week. It is worth noting, guys, that the month that has the most green, the best month to actually invest your money in the stock market, proven over the last 20 years of history, is actually April. So if you were to go on Google and type in what is the best performing month in the stock market, it will actually tell you that April is the best performing month. So hopefully we will have some good news to look forward to, and we will start to see those green days creep back in, because the average return would be 2.4% typically on, say, an S&P 500 trade or an index like that inside the month of April. So hopefully we will get those green days coming back, and hopefully some of our growth plays will actually have some new fresh cash set aside, so we can actually start to see a little bit more green in our portfolio. But always, guys, know that again, if you are invested in some of the growth plays that I have been talking about on this channel, they are not short-term plays. I am in fact in these plays for the long term, and I'm not going to be selling out of these positions, say, in the next month or two. I'm investing in them because I believe in their future, and despite the fact that we are going to have a lot of volatility over the next coming years, just because that's how the market works, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be selling out of a position just because the markets have dipped 10 or 15% in a week. I will in fact use that opportunity, if I have cash on the side, to average down my position, providing it is not more than 10% of my portfolio, and that way over the long term I know that I will be rewarded rewarded, because if you look again at the chart of the S&P 500, typically over a 5 or even 10-year period, you will see that despite the fact that we do have these major dips and corrections, sometimes of up to 40 or 50%, almost like we saw this time last year when the pandemic was actually just breaking out and starting, we will in fact see that lovely shape recovery where we do see the S&P 500 go up, despite the fact that we do have those big drawbacks in dips. So guys, the S&P 500 will typically return you about 9% on average every single year. So if you are in the investments that you are in for the long term, then again, it is not guaranteed, but from history, you can take a look back and you can know that for the long run, you should be absolutely fine with your investments. So guys, that is some news, hopefully some reassurance for you as to what is yet to come this week. And I hope that that has made you feel a bit better. Now, I know that we are 6.5 minutes into the video, so I'm not going to make it that long. We are just going to go through a few of the plays, and I will just try to do that as quickly as I can. If you can, then smash that like button for me down below if you've made it this far already. And if you are new, then welcome in and hit that big red subscribe button and join us on this family of investors where we make money together. Let's dive into the charts. So guys, as I said, Nasdaq is at all-time highs, and we are currently sitting at levels that could potentially be quite overbought very soon. So I will expect a drawback, hopefully, towards that 144 area. That is where I'm looking, because that's where we're going to have some new area of support coming down. So again, if we do see a 1 or 2% correction there in the Nasdaq, then again, we can expect to see a little bit of volatility through our growth stocks up to about 4 or 5% over the next day or two. And again, that is just going to be temperamental, and that should then bring us into April, where we should start to see those green days ahead. You can see that Bitcoin, guys, is actually in fact going up again. We are sitting at about 46,000 on the chart here, which is quite nice. And as I had drawn up here, you can see, guys, up on the charts that we did actually break down from that trend line that I had drawn. We had hit the 200, and we have had a nice little strong rebound there. And again, we did hit that 30 on the RSI just in time to in fact turn around. So this is why it's really good, guys, to use those technical indicators that I teach you about on this channel, because if you are going to in fact use this for optimum entry, and you are going to say trade Bitcoin just in the short term to get those 5, 10, 15 or even 20% gains over the course of a week, which you can do if you are in fact buying Bitcoin or those marathon patent or RIOT blockchain plays that I do talk about a lot on this channel, then in fact you can use those technical indicators on the RSI, on those trend lines of support and resistance, and also that 200 SMA to in fact get your optimum entry, wait for that slight turnaround, and if you see that bullish momentum on a 15-minute candle or potentially a 1-hour candle that is overtaking a smaller candle that had actually led down into that potential correction or pullback, then again that shows me that there are going to be a lot of buyers in the market where I could then potentially enter into a trade to then capitalize and make quick 15 or 20%, almost like a swing, or a day or a swing trade. So that is some news there regarding Bitcoin and RIOT and Mara. Now, would I want to enter RIOT or Mara at the current levels? Well, no. What I would be looking for, guys, is that area of weakness again to in fact touch down, just like I had talked about. So you're going to want to wait until you get to around that 30 on the RSI, or you do see any weakness, so you can get back in on that support. And you guys know that on my channel last week, I did talk an awful lot about how RIOT and Mara were going to in fact turn around once they did hit that support. So I do hope that you guys had added this to your radar and you did manage to get a nice entry on this, because I have waited very patiently for about 3 weeks, and I did actually keep calling it back that once we get to 35 and below, that could be a nice opportunity to in fact load up and quickly put this one back on your radar. So that is what I have been doing with our Bitcoin and crypto mining plays, and I'm very excited for the future, because I do have a price target on Marathon Patent Group at the end of the year for about $60 to $65, which is over a doubling from the current kind of where the current share price is. So I'm very happy there with that one. And again, CLEANSPARK is another play that I am watching, which also relates to those crypto mining plays. Now, again, I did talk about MP Materials. It does look like that we have had some kind of bottom here around that $32 mark. So this could potentially be a nice opportunity if we do in fact curl back round, hit that 30 on the RSI, and we do in fact get a double testing around that $32 to $33 range. Then again, this could be a nice place to start reloading our boats and averaging into that position over time, never buying fully into a position. And again, this is going to be more of a recovery play, because I don't think it will be as volatile as some of the other plays. And again, Walt Disney is another one, guys, that I have been talking to you guys about as a recovery play. And you can see that we are actually sitting at levels of that 200 SMA. And when was the last time we did in fact hit that 200 SMA? Well, that was around about December, and then we did go on a nice bull run all the way up to those highs of about $200. So again, if we do see any bearish news and we see any weakness in Disney, then this could be a nice one to load up on and put into into your portfolio as some more diversity, and again that's going to hedge against all of those high tech and growth stocks, because this is going to be a long-term recovery play. As Disney have those streaming service up, they also have their parks reopening, and again they're going to have those cruise ships hopefully opening by the end of the year. So that is just something there to potentially watch out for, and again these are some of the plays that will be used as value and also growth in a recovery. You've also got TRULIEVE, guys, which is also going to be another stock I have been talking about a lot on this channel, and you guys know I'm very bullish on the MJ sector, and this is one stock inside that sector that I think is going to do very well in the long run, and I think that this could easily hit $100 by the end of the year, depending on whether we see that federal legalization. But the good thing about this, guys, is knowing it's a very stable stock. They have an extremely strong balance sheet, they have an excellent CEO, and their company is growing absolutely rapidly, and I think that they are doing things that are going to outperform their competitors in a very growing and needing market right now that is about to be set for more legalization moving forward. And again, if we do see any weakness touching below that 100 on the SMA, and we do in fact get a chance to load up on this on a 200 SMA, so this could be a nice play to load up on, again especially if we see any weakness below that 100 SMA on this share price. But around this level I would be looking for areas of weakness to get in around that 56 or below dollar range. But I do think in the long run this is going to be a very juicy stock, and again this could be nice as a recovery play, again because it's going to add to that diversity. Now guys, another stock that I have been loading up on that I was buying last week that I did tell you about, which is the last play I'm going to talk about in this video, is in fact our Maxar Technologies, and again that's for reasons of the ARKX ETF, because I do believe that this is going to see quite some hype once we do get that news out, hopefully at some point in the next week or two, about that ARKX ETF that I did tell you about, because I think that Cathie Wood will actually be buying Maxar Technologies. I think it's a no-brainer stock, and I'd be very surprised if she was not to add this into her ARKX ETF. So guys, those are the plays that I'm watching. I do have a price target on Maxar for the end of the year around that $55 to $65 range, and again that could all change due to hype and also how much money Cathie Wood does in fact invest or pour into the space sector, because none of us have any clue as to how much money she is going to be putting inside these ETFs, whether it is 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 billion, we have no idea. So it will be very interesting to see where these stocks, these space stocks, do end up this year. But again, you want to look for those areas of weakness, and again if we do actually have any more tests down towards that $32 range, then that could be a nice support zone potentially to start putting this one back on your radar and loading up on the stocks of Maxar Technologies. So guys, that wraps up the video. If you did make it this far, I just want to say thank you very much. I really appreciate you. I hope that you did enjoy those plays that I have put out there for you, and I took the time to go through with them price targets and also where I see them going throughout this year. If you are new again, then hit that big red subscribe button and join this family of investors, and make sure you turn that beautiful like button into a lovely blue color for me. And I hope to see you guys back on my channel soon for some more content on investing. And if you want any plays that you want me to look into, then let me know below in the comments, or if there is any of our main stage plays that you would like me to go through, then I would love to do that for you. And if there is enough requests, then I will happily do that at your expense. So guys, I hope to see you in my next video. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys soon. Ciao.